Okay, now that I have my form poured, and you see I'm keeping it in the bag to keep it from drying out, I want to start sketching out ideas. So I kind of go in my sketchbook, and I always talk about sketching in light blue because it gives you a little more freedom. I started off by drawing boxes that are the same size as my block. That way, when I came up with an idea that I liked, it's already drawn to scale and it's easier to transfer it to my sculpture. I started off, I was thinking of maybe doing like a self-portrait, but I've done that enough this year, so I decided not to do that. I kind of sketched out some sort of like a dog head, and then I was thinking of maybe doing like an octopus, but instead of doing an octopus, I decided to work on a cuttlefish. If you don't know what a cuttlefish is, it's kind of like a squid and an octopus. See here. You can see here. That's a cuttlefish. They have these kind of crazy eyes. They have these really cool designs on their backs. They got little short tentacles, so that's what I decided to do. So when I drew my boxes again, I started really thinking about what that canopic jar form is going to look like. I decided to add it almost like a base, almost like a chess piece, and then having the cuttlefish on top of it, and then doing this design throughout there. That will make more sense once I start sculpting it. But what drawing like this does, and I have two views, it really gives me an idea of the overall shape. Now, my outer shape is actually rather simple for this. Where I get more complex is carving these tentacles, and I'm going to actually carve out the designs in there. So it's important to do these two views. And that way, if you have a more complex outer shape, like if you're doing a dog or like a cow or something that has a muzzle, you get to see that outer shape. That also might change the size of your canopic jar. Remember, we have this space to work with, but if your head's this big, your jar is going to be a little shorter, it's going to be a little stouter and wider, and that's going to affect what kind of designs you put in it. So it's very good to sketch these ideas out first. Now the next step, before I even start carving, is I'm going to take some modeling clay here. And modeling clay, it's just oil-based clay, it doesn't dry out. And I'm going to make a little mini sculpture. That's called a maquette. And making a maquette, what it does, it's a scale sculpture. So you want to try to stay in proportion to what you're actually going to make, but it just gives you an idea of what the shape is. Because a lot of times it's hard to visualize what is this going to look like here, and where am I going to carve, and where am I not going to carve. But if I make a little mini sculpture first, I could use that mini sculpture and go, okay, I need to carve in these places. So everyone's going to need to, when we come back, I'm going to give you some modeling clay, and this isn't a fully detailed sculpture, it's just a very basic shape of what you want to do. Okay, you can see I decided just to do the head part, because really the bottom part of the sculpture is more just design. You're not so much worried about the form there because it is it's supposed to be the basic canopic jar form. So I did just want to look at how the cuttlefish shape looks. just kind of like how I would do the eyes, how I would do the back, and this just helps me give an idea of how that will turn out.